What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. As always, thank you for tuning in. So Joe Biden did it again. He compares losing his son Beau to Israelis whose family members were slaughtered by Hamas terrorists. I don't know why this guy is so persistent with using the tragic deaths of his family to prop himself up. But he's been doing this for a long time. And I got some insights into exactly what type of person Joe Biden is. You know, a lot of people want to think Joe Biden's this sweet old man, has been around the block a few times, good old Scranton Joe. He is not a good person. And I've been saying that for a long time. And I got a story that's going to blow your mind. But first, I got an article here from Christina Layla. Joe Biden on Tuesday delivered remarks on the ambush Hamas terror attack against Israel over the weekend. He was 90 minutes late to his remarks. This is the first time the public has seen Joe Biden since Saturday. Biden sounded like he just rolled out of bed as he mumbled for 10 minutes. He confirmed that 14 Americans in Israel have been taken hostage by Hamas terrorists. Sadly for the Jewish people, it's not new. This attack has brought to the surface painful memories and the scars left by the millennia of anti-Semitism and genocide of the Jewish people. We must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel, and we will make sure it has what it needs to take care of its citizens and defend itself, Biden said. As always, Joe Biden made the speech about himself and compared losing his son Beau to Israelis whose family members were slaughtered by Hamas terrorists. He just can't help himself. Biden is a raging narcissist. And I got the audio right here. Here, check this out.
Today, Americans across the country are praying for all those families that have been ripped apart. A lot of us know how it feels. It leaves a black hole in your chest when you lose family. Feeling like you're being sucked in. The anger, the pain, the sense of hopelessness. This is what they mean by a human tragedy, an atrocity on an appalling scale.
Does anybody take anything this guy says seriously? I mean, he is such a phony fraud. It is truly incredible. He says the exact same lines over and over again, like a freaking robot. Well, I got a story about Joe Biden. Joe Biden sits there and tells people what it's like to lose family and how it's like a black hole. I don't know if I ever told my listeners this. I lost my dad when I was about 15 years old. I do not use the death of my father to prop myself up to benefit myself, ever. I never do that. And nobody should. But Joe Biden does it all the time. And not only that, but since Joe Biden is so understanding of what it's like to lose a loved one, how about this one? I got a story from the Western Journal. Came out in October. Biden covered for brother Frank over fatal hit and run, even after his own wife and child's tragic car deaths. Oh yeah. So in spite of having his wife and daughter killed in a tragic car accident in 1973, just weeks into his political career, Joe Biden covered for his brother following a hit-and-run crash in 1999 that left two girls without a father. So much of the world knows that just after he was elected to the Senate for the first time, then Senator-elect Biden lost his wife, I think it's Nelia, and his 13-month-old daughter, Naomi. His sons Beau and Hunter were both injured but survived the crash. According to Breitbart News editor-in-chief Alex Marlow, who had just released a new book in which he dug through Biden's private life, he sought to find something redeeming in the man who now occupies the Oval Office. And he said, quote, "Though I tried to locate the humanity in Joe Biden time and time again, I was shocked at how infrequently I was able to do that." It's so sad. This guy is so good, man. He is not your average politician. Joe Biden is good. Like, he is good at lying. He is good at being a phony. And now we find out he's even good at being a fraud and a crook. And it's just so irritating how the media got everything backwards. Everything. They make the heroes into the villains and the villains into the heroes. Joe Biden is a real-life villain. He is. He is like a James Bond villain. So during his research, Marlowe came across a civil suit that Biden's brother Frank Biden dodged for 20 years with the help of his powerful brother. According to Marlowe, Frank Biden was coaching a young man named Jason Tertone on how to drive his Jaguar on a California highway in 1999 because his driver's license was suspended. Marlowe claims Tertone was driving 70 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone when he fatally struck a pedestrian named Michael Albano. I think it's either Albano or Albano. Two people in the back of the Jaguar later recalled that Frank Biden instructed Tertone not to stop the vehicle. The young man was later charged with a felony hit and run while Frank Biden was issued a summons to show up for court for a civil case brought against him by Albano's grieving daughters. Per Marlowe, Frank dodged a process server for years, while at one point allegedly staying at his brother's Delaware home. Finally, in 2008, Albano's daughters contacted the then senator's office directly about Frank Biden paying a judgment against him in the amount of $275,000 to each of the Albano's orphaned daughters, or $550,000 in total. Biden's office reportedly responded to them with the following message. Quote, Senator Biden has received your letter of September 16th regarding a judgment by your clients against his brother Frank. The senator wishes to express his deep sympathy with the Albano daughters over their loss. Frank has no assets with which to satisfy the judgment. The senator regrets that this is where the matters stand and that he cannot be more helpful. Seriously? Now I thought this guy knew what it was like to lose a loved one. Folks, I thought he was so sympathetic for the people in Hawaii, for the people in Israel. I mean, that's what he keeps saying. He keeps saying he knows what it's like. Well, if he knows what it feels like, then why in the hell would he cover up for his brother that was in a hit and run that left two girls without a father? That doesn't sound like a very sympathetic man to me. So according to Marlowe, Frank Biden was earning at least enough money at the time to find himself in a hole with the IRS. 1 week before Joe Biden's response to the two women, Frank Biden paid a delinquent tax bill in the amount of $23,638.59. The UK's Daily Mail reported Frank Biden finally paid Albano's daughters a year before the 2020 election, a sum that had ballooned up to $900,000 with interest. Marlowe noted that Frank Biden is part of the family business and concluded, quote, but what is truly shocking is that Joe Biden would aid in this particular cover-up after having endured the life-altering tragedy that he endured. Joe Biden has been openly critical of the men who struck the car carrying his family, Curtis C. Dunn, and has for years falsely claimed that Dunn was intoxicated and at fault for the wreck that killed Nelia and Naomi. In 2008, the then senator and Democratic presidential hopeful was asked by Dunn's daughter to stop repeating the lie about her father, the New York Post reported. The newspaper further noted that police in 1972 had determined that the late Mrs. Biden was at fault for the accident and that Dunn had overturned his tractor-trailer in order to avoid hitting her car. Dunn, who died in the late 1990s, was also the first person to render first aid to Nelia Biden and Joe Biden's three children. Alex Marlowe's book, Breaking Biden, was released on Tuesday. Joe Biden, we talked about this before. Joe Biden was blaming this guy, this semi-truck driver, for killing his family. The same stuff he's doing now, but he would accuse this guy of being drunk. He lied to everybody over and over again, saying that a drunk driver driving a semi-truck struck his wife's car and killed his wife and daughter. He has said this lie over and over again. He said it so much that the daughter had to come out and tell him, stop lying about my father. So this guy had to go his entire life with Joe Biden out there on the stump, telling everybody that he killed Joe Biden's wife and daughter, and he was drinking and driving at the time. So this guy had to go his whole life with Joe Biden lying about him. This is sick. And not only that, but this man died before Joe Biden apologized. So this guy had to go his whole life with that on his shoulders because Joe Biden wants to use it to benefit himself, to get sympathy from people. This man is sick. Sick. And then now with this new revelation in this book, he covered for his brother that was involved in a hit and run that left 2 daughters without a father. And then don't you find it a little ironic that it was paid off the year Joe Biden was running for president? So I have to ask, did Joe Biden pay the $900,000 for his brother's crime? Because if that's the case, that, ladies and gentlemen, is sick. That is sick. That Joe Biden can get out there and talk about how he can relate with everybody in the pain that he feels, but he couldn't relate to those 2 daughters? Seriously, for years, Joe Biden was covering for his brother for years. Why does Joe Biden keep using these lies? Why? Why does he constantly have to? I don't know. It's like he stands on top of his family's graves. This guy uses the tragic deaths of his family to benefit himself, to lift himself up in his career. And he's been doing it for years. And not just his own family's death, but to sit and blame a guy that was innocent, to blame an innocent man for the death of your wife and child is sick. And to do it not just for a little bit, not by accident, but for years, to do it so much that the daughter had to tell him to stop lying about it, to stop lying. I mean, it's disgusting. The Biden family, they are not good people, ladies and gentlemen. They are not. The media did everything they could to cover up for Joe Biden and get him across the finish line. And then as soon as he crossed the finish line, they just let the floodgates loose. And now all of us have to sit and pay the price. Does Joe and Mika suffer right now because of Joe Biden's disastrous administration? Does any of the anchors at MSNBC or CNN suffer? No. Because of Joe Biden's administration, there is death and destruction happening all across the planet. All across the globe. Like, how is it possible that we have such a evil, sick man as our president? How is that possible? How was it possible that this man was able to pull a fast one on the American people? How was that possible? Because the media manipulated the people. The media lied. The media was not doing their damn job. That's exactly why we're supposed to have a media. That is exactly why the media is there. To be honest with the American people. We cannot have a functioning country if we have a media that is consistently lying to the American people. We don't have a country if we have a media that acts like a Pravda propaganda outlet. It's impossible. It's unsustainable. The leftist Democrat media, CNN, MSNBC, Joe and Mika, the whole damn thing. 90% of the media are nothing but propaganda now. And I just find it disgusting how they covered for the Bidens. Now all the American people are having to suffer. Now all these people are dying, suffering, heartache, and misery all across the globe. All because the media wanted to get their preferred candidate across the finish line. All because Donald Trump called the media fake news. God help this country, man. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good day. Great week. God bless you. God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.